again, let my foolishness end here. An idea like
you have to stop talking about foolishness in this conversation, because there is no foolishness here.
So now the ideas like youth fund would be a direct injection of money into people's pockets, right? And affordable housing is a good idea. And you're a numbers guy. I'm sure kidogo pale kwa ideas, because I started this conversation by explaining to an idea that I was excited about in the labor. So I look at youth fund and I'm like, for the support of the private sector, what informed the idea of giving people money directly, that's like government doing business, yet the private sector, they have established structures in the banking. Why not empower them to give access to loans? And one of the criticisms that the economy has faced is that the government is borrowing from banks. So correct me if I'm wrong, if the government stopped from borrowing from banks, banks tatubembeleza na pesa, what informs the difference between giving people directly or strengthening the institutions?
Let me tell you, you've asked a very fundamental question.
Hey Wadau, our platform has always been about understanding, actually mainly about understanding how money works, the systems, economics and stuff. So we've talked to business people, we've talked to upcoming businessmen, we've talked to entrepreneurs. If you've been following our content, you know. So there's a question that has been lingering. If we got an opportunity to have a conversation with the gentleman in charge of this country's resources, when you decide policy at the top of policy making decisions and stuff, what questions would we ask? I've reached out to my friend Robert Mwangi, the author of 4 books, Dollar Altar, Money Circles, 5 Fingers, and as in 4 legit books, nikamuliza, and President's Advisor, to ask him if he met the president, what would he ask? But they kama uko na nafasi, grab a copy of any of those books, it'll blow your mind. But kwa question, we mulled over these questions with my friend, Senior Counsel Otieno Mokaya Nifaya Bin Fire. Senior Counsel,
yes.
If we got to meet the president, what questions can't I ask?
What questions can't you ask the president? Everybody who knows what to ask the president, but nobody knows what questions not to ask. Okay. But right there is what you get. If you know what not to ask, then you know what to ask. When you meet somebody in power, the first instinct is to ask him what he wants to hear, to lead him to what he wants to talk about. The question not to ask the president is actually the question to ask the president.
Wadau, you know our platform. Approach with an open mind when we get an opportunity to have a conversation, vile nimesema, with the gentleman in charge of the country's resources, top on the seat ya policy making decisions. Tukiuliza, do we take it? Do we not take it? Here's our conversation with the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency President William Ruto. My name is Dr. Kingori. I want to break down a concept, cow skin, as a low-hanging fruit. We slaughter 3 million cows, alafu we still import shoes, and the leather industry is dying. And I was excited because, why don't we start with that as a Kenyan? And to quote a friend of mine, maybe this is where my foolishness ends. When I get the counter, why wouldn't we start with that as a country in terms of ideas to be given a priority in the country? I love that idea. And I was like, this looks to me as a simple-minded man like the ideas that would put money in people's pockets directly. Yes.
Great. You know, Dr. Kingori, this is what you have asked is very significant. We have, as I have said before, 3 million, we slaughter 3 million heads of livestock every year. Yes. We have the whole hides and skin space. What has been lacking is 3 things. Number one is the whole space around how do you process the skin. Yeah? So we have invested and completed now what we call Kenania Leather Park. That is where most of the facilities that will be common used by many people for purposes of tanning, you know, making, creating wet blue and all the other things from the whole textile space. That's number one. And we're not only doing that there, we're also doing something in Narok. So it's a heavy investment. So the challenge we have is that because it's a heavy investment, not many ordinary people or businesses can invest. So we decided to invest as government. We've put in there close to 2 billion shillings to unlock the whole space. That's number one. Number two, it is also important for us to have common user facilities. If you have gone to Karioko, where people make shoes, there is machinery there. But that machinery was bought by government because that machinery is not available to local people to do it. Now we have licensed 5 companies. And I can tell you today, the boots for the police, the boots for the military, the boots for NYS, the boot for most of our security agencies, they are now made in Kenya, as opposed to we used to import them from China. Why? Because we have also changed the policy that you cannot continue to import what can be manufactured in Kenya. So there are now 5 companies in Kenya that can produce shoes locally.
And does the farmer also get to feel like how do you translate to the person who slaughters their cow to have somewhere to take the skin?
Precisely. So what we are doing is once you have an off-taker, because the problem was you have hides and skin. There is nowhere for them to be processed. There is nobody, even if you process, there is nobody to buy because there was no market for it. So we went backwards. You heard me say that we are going to put tariffs on furniture, on cement, on steel, on leather that we continue to import when we can actually manufacture locally. So to tell you now, we are producing most of our cement here. In fact, almost 90% of our cement here. We are producing most of the steel here. And because of the pipeline we have now created, we have more companies now that are expanding to do the processing of skin. There is still quite a bit of skin that is lost to other markets. There are still some people in West Africa that are buying skin to go and eat. There is still some people who are smuggling skin as wet blue to go and sell as non-processed. But we are closing in the gap on those people. So I am very confident, and it is my belief that now that we have close to 5 companies that are properly invested in manufacturing shoes in Kenya, we have moved from manufacturing about 5 million pairs. We are now at 11 million pairs in the last 3 years.
That's nice.
We are now at 11 million shares. My target is that we should produce 20 million pairs every year. And progressively, we should stop importing.
You are a numbers guy.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that. So 20 million looks like success rate. In my simple-mindedness, like, have you done the...
Are you sure you are simple-minded?
Yes.
I doubt. You wouldn't be asking the questions you are asking.
But when you do 20 million pairs, right, this goes into the mathematics that goes into the economic impact of a project. Like, let me break it down. Thika Road, for example, when the road is constructed, you open up an economy where land prices zitaenda juu kidogo, people can get more money, kuna disposable income such that it unlocks a certain economic level for people around the place. So when you look at Kenya producing 20 million pairs, economically, like, what does it take for people to feel?
No, but you see, my friend, the money we have been spending to buy shoes from all over the place, that money is now in Kenya. You are not now buying shoes that came, and the number of people being hired in Kenya is now growing. You will soon be at 20,000, people hired to make shoes in Kenya. What we have also done is to connect these people manufacturing shoes to colleges, so that we also train more people in the art, of making shoes. The one instruction I have given is that any money we spend to buy shoes for our security agencies, they must be made in Kenya. Initially, they came back to me and told me, oh, Mr. President, you see, the shoes are not, the water seeps in, they have not made it nice. I told them, I called those people and I told them, give me the shoe you want made. I will give it to these people to go and make it. And believe you me, they made the right shoe. Whatever they wanted, they got it in Kenya. So that is how we slowly are turning our country manufacturing. It is also the reason, my brother, we have 47 county aggregation and industrial parks. These county these county aggregation and industrial parks are now going to be epicenters. What you have in Karioko, that facility you have in Karioko, where people are making shoes using a machine bought by government, we are going to replicate that in every county, so that leather that is collected in that county doesn't have to be transported to Nairobi. You know, we can begin to get young people in this county aggregation and industrial park. I was, for example, in Busia. The one in Busia is almost complete. The one in Sagana here, if you ask Ann Waiguru, the one for Sagana, there are already two investors there beginning to use the county aggregation and industrial park to process products that are manufactured, that are whose raw material are around Kirinyaga County. That is how we are going to industrialize. You know, that's how we are going to create value out of everything that we have. That's how we stop exporting raw materials. That's how our coffee is going to be processed. Our tea is going to be processed, and on and on and on and on. And that is the reason why we are saying, let us invest in areas where we get maximum value in terms of creating jobs, creating value, and reducing on imports. That's how we grow the country.
All right. So brilliant. But then, and I hope we can get to taste Rizzo.
No. Why don't I do this?
Yes, sir.
So that to make it easier for you.
Yes.
I want you to sample. Yes. I will give you the contacts for 5 companies that are manufacturing shoes in Kenya.
Yes,
Go talk to them. Go ask them. How many shoes were you manufacturing 3 years ago? How many are you manufacturing today? How many, which shoes are you selling to who? Why do you want to listen? Why do you want to take it from me? Go talk to them.
I respect the idea of starting with the disciplined forces, because that's already a ready market. Because in my mind, I would be like...
Because that's a market that is in my control.
Yes.
Now, for you who want to go and buy, by the way, this shoe you are wearing is very expensive, eh?
No, it's not.
I know it. I know this shoe is. But you see, this shoe you are wearing can be made here in Kenya, and we should be able to make it for you here in Kenya. Same quality, same standard. So, because we have the space that I can decide where the market goes. But you see now, for ordinary people, we just have to make the shoe and I'm now encouraging these people to set up, their own enterprises. Yes. But what we are also doing, we are working with them so that the manufacturing for the global market that is happening in other countries where labor is beginning to be expensive, we want to relocate them to Kenya. We already have 3 people who are relocating their production from different countries to Kenya. 3 of them.
Okay.
And if you talk to these people, I am telling you, I can tell my team to show you, go to their factories. Okay. Okay. They are relocating to Kenya so that whether it is Geox, for example, there is a shoe called Geox. Whether it is that, it is manufactured in Kenya, it is sold globally. But now what we are going to do is that it will not just be manufactured in Kenya for the global market. Yes. The leather will be ours. Okay. All right? And the rest of the labor will be ours. So we begin to inform, to use our labor, to use our electricity, to sell into the global market.
Okay.
So 3 components.
Yes.
The ones we determine the market, the global market that we can use Kenya to manufacture, and of course, our own local market.
Okay. And thank you for that. And I will dedicate this to a lady who is starting out in the leather industry.
Yes.
She has a company in Pure Purple.
Okay.
If these structures are in place,
Yes.
I implore her to actually do that.
Please tell her.
Yes. Her name is Yolanda, and she's doing bags and stuff.
Okay.
Now she had struggled na leather kidogo, but
Yes.
if these structures are in place,
Let me tell Yolanda that if she's struggling with the leather,
yes,
he should go and see a fellow in Athi River
yes,
called Mr. Rao. He has some of the finest leather anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Some of the finest.
Okay.
He makes leather for Kenyan, and he also makes leather for export.
So, final question. I know it's been a long day. Your support for the private sector cannot be underestimated. I've seen you speak of the private sector. Again, let my foolishness end here. An idea like
You have to stop talking about foolishness in this conversation, because there is no foolishness here.
So
Yes.
now the ideas like youth fund would be a direct injection of money into people's pockets, right? And affordable housing is a good idea. And you're a numbers guy. I'm sure kidogo pale kwa ideas, because I started this conversation by explaining to you an idea that I was excited about, the leather. So I look at youth fund and I'm like, for the support of the private sector, what informed the idea of giving people money directly, that's like government doing business, yet the private sector, they have established structures in the banking. Why not empower them to give access to loans? And one of the criticisms that the economy has faced is that the government is borrowing from banks. So correct me if I'm wrong, if the government stopped from borrowing from banks, tumeambiwa banks zitatubembeleza na pesa, tuende to borrow. What informs the difference between giving people directly or strengthening the institutions?
Let me tell you, you've asked a very fundamental question, and this is a question I was engaged with actually day before. Actually, you remember I was in KICC
Yes.
on this MSME day on Saturday. This was a very fundamental question we were discussing. The biggest challenge small business people face is access to capital. Yeah? Many banks you will not get through the door if you want to go and borrow from them.
Because they know you pay better.
Not because they know you. They will not allow you if they don't know you. First, they tell you, bring this item, what is the name of your grandmother, and everybody, who is your friend, where's the logbook, do you have a title deed, do you have a pay slip, all those things.
Yes.
And you cannot fault the banks. That's their business model. So what are we doing as government? We have to de-risk these people. We have to take the risk as government. It is the reason why my friend Daktari Kingori, Daktari Kingori, it is the reason why I started Hustler Fund. Why? Because there were 7 million people blacklisted. If you go anywhere, they check in the CRB, they say, no, you cannot even be given 2 shillings, right? Blacklisted.
Yes.
So how do we repair the credit worthiness of those people? That is how I came up with Hustler Fund. I removed all these people from the CRB, gave them a second chance, gave them a chance to borrow and pay. And for your information, out of 7 million people, we have 2 million people now who have repaired their credit rating. They are borrowing. All of them, of course, are out of the credit CRB list. They are now borrowing and paying. And for your information, another 960,000 people have even graduated. They are now borrowing up to 150,000 shillings. People who could not access a coin. So what I am telling now the banks, because I want now to move them to the next level, exactly to your point, I'm telling the banks, you people were saying these people are not credit worthy. They could not be, you had actually blacklisted them. We've given them a chance. They now have a track record. They've been borrowing for the last 1 year and they have been paying. They now have a credit score, right? And you see, collateral, Daktari Kingori, is not necessarily a title deed or a pay slip or a logbook.
Yeah.
Collateral can be your behavior. You know, if you are a good borrower and a good person who pays, that becomes your logbook. That becomes your collateral.
Yes.
So I'm telling them, I now have 900,000 people who we have their credit record.
Yes.
We have their track record. They have been borrowing and paying for the last 2 years. Now they have reached the limit. We can only give them up to 150,000. We want you to give them 200,000, 300,000, 500,000. Use this track record of theirs for you to lend to them. They have.
The Hustler Fund is like
it's like an incubation. An incubation. You know, above a place, a nursery,
Yes.
where you get those people who nobody wants. We fashion them. You know, we train them. You know, we take a risk with them. But when they have grown, when their credit worthiness has grown, then they can go to the banks.
And what do you say to the
banks,
economist who argues that if the government, as we wind up, the economist who says that the government will just reduce what they are borrowing from the banks, so the banks can be stranded with the money?
But you
So
see,
that
that is a very unintelligent, you know, argument, because the banks exist to lend. You know, we don't lend because we want to. We don't borrow because we want to borrow. We borrow because there are needs that are not enough, you know, or that are more than the resources we have.
Okay.
So, and we are not the only country that borrows. All I am doing now, for your information, is to reduce borrowing. If you had the conversation I had there,
Yes.
we are now trying to see how we can raise more resources
Yes.
rather than borrow.
Okay.
For your information, Dr. Kingori,
Yes, sir.
we have 1.2 trillion contracts on housing, on markets, on hostels, with zero borrowed. Zero money borrowed. You know?
I'm so curious.
We
Go
have
into
we have
infrastructure
we
fund.
have mobilized our resources in the domestic space.
Yes.
We have mobilized our domestic resources to fund our universal health coverage.
Yes.
You know, we have the national insurance, social insurance fund.
Okay.
We have the PHC fund.
Okay.
All these, you know, is part of my, you know, making sure that we borrow less and we develop, we mobilize more resources from the domestic market.
Okay.
Let me ask you, why don't you ask me, Mr. President, why has the dollar come down from where it was to 129? It is because we are borrowing less. It's because we are sending less and less of our dollars outside Kenya. Why? Because whether it is housing, whether it is universal health coverage, we are funding it using domestic resources. Whether it is this Talanta you see here, whether it is bombers, you know, we are using innovative mechanisms, not going to the banks to borrow money. We are using innovative to build some of this infrastructure. What about the roads? We have mobilized close to 300 billion shillings to build our roads in an innovative mechanism. So, just for your information, you know, and it is good that you are asking me this question, because it is good for me to explain to the people of Kenya why we are doing what we are doing. Many people are beginning to ask, what was happening to our money before? Why are we building housing? Why are we building Rironi Summit? Why are we building Talanta? How are we building Bomas? How are we building all the roads? Where was the money going in the past? But we are doing this kwa sababu ya kutumia akili.
Okay, Najwa, it's been a long day, and with your permission, I would probably propose that we could set up with the team to invite you on a podcast, because I would like to dive into these ideas. Especially, I was invested in the infrastructure bond because of questions like how much can we afford to build, but I see our time is up.
My friend, infrastructure bond, listen, the infrastructure fund, you know, you asked me the right questions. Infrastructure fund is going to be a game changer in this country. Unanisikia?
With your permission.
Yeah,
we can
it
set
is
up-
going to be a game changer in Kenya.
Yes.
We have struggled with roads. Through the infrastructure fund, I can confirm to you that we are going to raise up to $30 billion. Go calculate that in Kenya shillings
I'll go
and
do
know
the
how much and know how much it is.
I'll go to
You
the
know,
mathematics.
that is why I am saying
Yes.
in the next 70 years, God willing, with the systems that I have set in place, we should be able to build 28,000 new kilometers of tarmac in Kenya. We've built 20,000 for the last 60 years. We can build another 28,000 in the next 7 years. That is how transformative it is. That is how transformative when you use your mind and you apply your mind to it. That is how we are going to do more energy generation. We are going to do more in the space of water harvesting, water storage, and the whole irrigation space, so that we grow more food and we export more. But that's a conversation for another day. I'll be very happy to have a conversation with you on that,
So I can reach out to
so
the
that
team.
I can explain to the people of Kenya. Unajua, kuna watu wako na propaganda mingi, story mingi, and they have no ideas on how to take Kenya forward.
Okay, from I'll if you give us that permission.
Okay,
I'll reach
Daktari.
out to the team.
Thank you.
Asante sana for your time.
Yes,
And
asante.
I'm looking forward.
Okay,
Asante sana.
okay, Daktari.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, very good.